Hi guys, this is Brad from Brad's Trains, and today I'm going to be reviewing and running these Lionel Legacy Southern Pacific F7s. These locomotives were released by Lionel in their 2013 Signature Edition catalog. They are released in an AA set like you see here, with the powered A unit and the non-powered A unit. The powered unit features Lionel Legacy sounds and controls, including Odyssey 2-speed control, 2 vertical flywheel-equipped motors. It features directional lighting, and it features an electrocoupler. It features the full scape details, which I'll go over in a little bit. The rear locomotive has the same details as the front. It does have a smoke unit, so both units actually have smoke units. And it does have a lighting chip in it, so it does have directional lighting, and it does have an electrocoupler at the end, just like the front engine, except it has no motors and it has no sound. The construction of this locomotive is pretty typical. It has die-cast metal pilots, die-cast metal truck side frames, die-cast metal frame, and die-cast metal fuel tank. And the body is plastic. It has some separately applied metal details like the horn here and the grab irons around here. And the rear unit has the same construction. We can start off by looking at some of the details on the front of the locomotive. Here is the electrocoupler, and on the other side there is a MU hose. There are grab irons here, and these are the lights here. This is the headlight. It's got Rule 17, so it'll dim when you stop and it'll brighten when you move. It has a Mars light which you can turn on and off. It has these class lights, which when you switch direction they'll come on depending on which direction you're going. They'll be on the other unit. This locomotive has number boards which are constantly lighted when the power is on. This locomotive has windshield wipers here, and they look pretty good. I don't think they move, but they look pretty good. It has these windows. The windows do not open, but the door here is sprung and it does open. And what's interesting with this locomotive is in the cab there are actually some details. There's a control stand with some levers and chairs in the cab, so that's interesting that they added those details. The truck side frames have some fairly nice detail as well. They have some nice molded in detail like the sand lines on either side. They have some nice separately applied detail. There's a ladder that leads up here. It's a metal ladder. And there are actually steps that they added here, which are a nice touch. If you move back towards the rear of the locomotive, you have the fuel tank, and you have the rear truck, and you have 2 portholes here. These grills that run across the locomotive length, they're actually separately applied metal grills. And I like them, they look great, but they do cause a slight rattle when you run the engine at high volume. It's not a big deal though. Towards the rear here you have another opening door, which is sprung. It will always close, which is nice. Where the 2 units are connected here at the back, we have diaphragms, which are slightly sprung, which is interesting. You have dummy O-gauge couplers to hold them together, and unlike some Lionel locomotives that come in an AA set, these have a fairly good distance between them. I did not modify these at all, they just came with this gap between them. It's a lot better than some of the locomotives that Lionel puts out, so I'm pretty happy with the distance between these engines. Here you have another ladder here, or more steps, and more grab irons there, separately applied. Here's that door again. And in a minute I'll show you the inside of the diaphragm there. Here's the back of the locomotive. There's the sprung diaphragm again. There's also a door that is sprung back here. It opens. There's the dummy O-gauge coupler. There are some MU hoses here. And what's interesting is that these units have a reverse light right here that will light up and has Rule 17 lighting. Depending which engine is in reverse, that engine's light will light up. On the top of the locomotive there are 2 separately applied metal horns. That's the dynamic brake fan, and there are 2 lift rings around it. And all of the fans do have fan blades inside that are separately applied and will spin if you blow on them. There's the smoke exhaust stacks, 2 which is prototypical for an F7. All of these fans also have the blades, which is cool. And back here you have a compartment, and this compartment will open up. It has magnets that hold it shut. And inside of the compartment you have your legacy controls and you have your volume knob. So you also have a battery storage right there too. If you want to put your battery in there in case you're running conventional and you don't want the sounds to cut off, you can put your 9-volt battery there. You have your program run switch, your Odyssey on off switch, and your smoke on off switch. That just goes back on like that. And on the dummy locomotive, it also has this, except there's only 2 switches. The run program switch and the smoke on off switch. The details of the dummy unit are pretty much exactly the same as the powered unit, except in the cab there are no crew figures. You still have some details in the cab like the chairs and the levers, but there are no crew figures in the cab. One interesting thing about the dummy unit is that on one of the axles there's a sensor, and that sensor will tell how fast it's going or if it's moving at all. And once you start it moving, once you start rolling the engine, then the smoke volume will increase, also the fan speed will increase, and the cab light will go out. So that's interesting that they added that feature. Before I start this locomotive up, I want to explain one thing about how you program these. For the AA set like you see here, the way you program it is you take both these hatches off and you put them both in program, and then you just program them whatever you want to call them, but I call them 25 for the last 2 digits of the road number. And then you program them both at the same time and put them both back into run. And what that will do is allow them to work as the same locomotive. You don't have to run them as a train. And everything like the electrocouplers and the directional lighting, they'll all work fine with the programming them at the same time. But if you have a 3-unit set like the A, powered B, and the non-powered A, then you have to program them as a train. Someday I'm planning to add the powered B in it, but that'll be a little later on down the road. Alright, now we're ready to start this locomotive up. I'll use the extended startup.
Dispatcher here. Do you copy? Over.
Roger that.
Please start her up and stand by for track orders.
Copy that, dispatcher. Starting up the engine. Out.
I like the sound of this locomotive's prime mover. I'm a big fan of the 567 roots blown engines, and basically any EMD 2-stroke engine. I just like the sound of them. This one's no exception. However, I would have liked it if they had a more complex startup for the engine, maybe have the sound of the engine turning over, but it's not a big deal. First I'll show the horn. Now the bell. Here's some of the crew talk.
Dispatcher here. Please hold for track orders. Over.
Understood. Standing by. Out. Still have rev. Can I get to the main line? Over.
Sit tight. I'll let you know. Over.
Gotcha, dispatcher. Waiting for clear. Out.
Same old crew talk, but that's to be expected. Here is the sound of the electric coupler firing. Alright, now I'm going to switch direction, and when I do, you'll notice that the class lights come on and the headlight goes off. And there they are. And right now, when I change it back, on the rear locomotive, the class lights are on. If you look here, you can see the reverse light on the A unit. When I change direction, it's going to go off. You won't be able to see it, but on this A unit, on the other side of the powered A unit, it'll come on. I'll switch back. Pretty neat. Now, if you don't like the Mars light, you can always turn it off with your legacy remote. Like that. But I like it, so I'll keep it on. Now I'll show you the RPM sounds on the locomotive. There's my trip. This locomotive is also equipped with the refuel sounds when you hold the reset button. And they'll play as long as you hold the button.
Dispatcher, we've got a full tank. Over.
Roger that. Out.
As far as the pulling power of this set, some people might be skeptical since the A unit is the only powered unit and the other A unit is non-powered. Well, with my test, I've run up to 25 cars, a lot of them being heavy, and I've experienced no wheel slip or motor lugging or anything like that. So, as far as I can tell, these are pretty good pullers. And if you are going to run very long trains with them, you can always buy the powered B unit. So now let's go ahead and move it out.
Dispatcher here. You are clear to pull. Over.
Copy, we have that clear. Out.
Alright, now I'm going to shut it down. In order to shut it down with the crew talk, you have to press this circle for the shutdown with the crew talk. If you want to shut it down without any crew talk, then you press engine up there, and now you press the shutdown icon right there, and that'll give you no crew talk when you shut down. But I'm going to shut it down with crew talk for the sake of the video.
Tire down, going to beans. Out.
Alright guys, that wraps it up for this review. These are fantastic locomotives, and if you can find one at a good price, I highly recommend getting them. They retail for $730, which is a bit high, but I found these for $300 less than that. So if you look around, you can get some really good deals. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.